How do you continue on and not live in the middle of what harmed you as identity, but just roadmaps that lead you to your next space of, okay, cool, like I can make a new space for myself, regardless to if you say sorry or not. Sometimes the deepest wound isn't exactly what happened, but it's the fact that it was never named, apologized for, or repaired. My name is Tiffany Fierce, and let's talk about what it looks like to have harm that is done but unacknowledged, and how you can make space to live through that and come out on the other side. Not necessarily how-to list, but just as is, accepting what has gone down without making yourself be the culprit of holding all of it, even if other people won't pick up their parts. So breath work, journaling, meditation, movement, those things matter. I do them all the time. I've done them for years. But what happens when you're told, oh, that was so long ago, this doesn't matter, just get over it? What happens when the harm is still living in the house with you, down the block, signs your paycheck? How do you deal with grief when you feel as though no one's taking accountability, or people just act like shit is not really happening and you're just being too sensitive? Do you allow yourself to keep internalizing that? What happens when you feel a sacred rage, but you don't even know where to put it, and you're always told that you should just let bygones be bygones, or go along to get along, or you've been taught that without it being said, but you know that that's what people prefer, and you're off your people pleasing, you're off that, you're off of, making yourself be last to hold other people's harm when they can't hold their own accountability. Unacknowledged harm sits in our culture as well. Look at rape culture, look at molestation, look at work violence. When you learn to just quiet yourself or act like something doesn't happen, you have a harder time speaking up for yourself or moving forward in something because you don't want to make anybody upset. Even if you have hang-ups around if you're at a restaurant and somebody sends your food out and it's the wrong thing, and you go, oh, I'll just eat it, I'll just take it. Sometimes it's like, oh, I'm hungry, I'm just gonna, have this. But most times, why settle? Why have to hush yourself because you don't want to make anybody upset when somebody more than likely is okay with helping you if you just spoke up? And I feel like a lot of people that have grown up in family dynamics or societal indoctrinations that tell you to just be quiet, even when you ground yourself and you open up your root or your sacral or your throat chakras and you open up the space around you to start speaking up, there's still times that you find yourself clamming up, or still times that you might wonder, damn, am I bugging? Did I say it okay? And you can't really do all of that when you just need to speak about something. You want to try to not be harmful just to be harmful, but like your truth ain't always pretty. And a lot of times if other people can't take accountability for that, they don't want to hear it. So now you're hurting their feelings. But it's like, who's caring about your feelings and your harm? There's a lack of relationship within humans needing to be heard versus needing to just be right. And also, what does it look like when you make space for this, when the person that caused the harm is not coming to say sorry? That's just not gonna happen. How do you continue on and not live in the middle of what harmed you as identity, but just roadmaps that lead you to your next space of, okay, cool, like I can make a new space for myself, regardless to if you say sorry or not. And not rush to forgiveness, because this is not this either. Oh, just forgive and let go because it's harming you more than them. Sometimes you need to feel through what you need to forgive. And some things are just unforgivable. And that still doesn't mean it has to be the center of your existence or the only part of your story or your story altogether. Violence is just not only physical, emotional, mental, it's also denial, it's silence, it's gaslighting. It's people trying to make you think that something didn't happen when it did. So I think you just have to prepare yourself to understand you're gonna have to foot through any kind of loneliness that comes up when you speak up. Naming something and telling the truth is the first step in anything. And I've called out people in my family, I've called out institutions, I've called out different things in my experience. And sometimes those responses are non-existent. Other times it's filled with retaliation. You can't really predict what somebody is gonna do. So you don't wanna try to manage someone else's feelings, but you gotta allow yourself to just know if somebody's upset about what you gotta say, then that's on them. You had to do this for yourself. And when your truth is met with avoidance, that can cause heartbreak. That can actually let you see people you've known for years or a lifetime and just see them differently. Not understand what you're seeing, not get who they really are or what this subject is bringing up for them. And that can feel gut-wrenching. And that's another set of grief that you have to walk through if so. But it can't take away from you needing to tell the truth. So how do you grieve the repair that you never got from something without making it make you feel crazy or like you're not in control of where your next steps go in life? You gotta feel it. There's no other way to go through this but to go through it. And the other part of all the things that are tools like journaling and breath work and meditation, yoga, movement, etc., is that there's still a part of you that has to deal. That's just a tool. But the truth coming out depends on then you sitting in what has happened, what is, without trying to intellectualize it, sometimes without overly spiritualizing something and just letting things come to you, making radical space for that, and then down the line, making some sort of next step. Sometimes there just is no answer to why people do some shit that they do. Like, you will never know. And if that's what you're looking for is the why and the apology, especially from someone that's not gonna stand in this with you and take accountability, it will lead you to so much more suffering. Sometimes you gotta suffer for a little bit though, like, to be honest, to come to a point where you go, I don't want this life anymore. And I think there's a part where things, you know, how people say time heals all wounds. I think maybe the wound is healed, but there's maybe some scar tissue. Maybe it's keloid. Maybe you can still see the scar. And every time you look at it, you might feel sad and go, damn, I remember what happened when this thing happened. Or I remember this time period where all of this, there's a dragonfly. Literally just like flew on the camera. I remember when all of this happened and damn, it was a lot. Never feel like I should be over that, because a lot of times you've progressed, you've evolved, but you're still a human and you might feel a little tinge of something. That's where there is the breath work and the coming back to the body and being in nature if you can, and watching what you view, what you listen to, what you consume, how you nurture and nourish your own self. But there is a space for allowing yourself to still feel a tinge of, yo, that was really fucked up. That was a really fucked up time. And eventually letting it just be like, oh, that was a time that I remembered this lesson and I've alchemized it and I've moved on and I don't even have to like go too much into it. But never feel shame about the in-between, because harm that goes unacknowledged, if you internalize it a certain way, it could really put you in a position to constantly feel like it was your fault, or why won't they say something, or I've done all of this work, especially if you've done like therapy and different modalities and, you know, all the things, and you're like, I did all this work for everybody to just stay the same. Yep, because people's paths are their own. And again, if we don't have deeper communal care and people feel shame on their path, or they might feel nothing and just feel like they don't need to take like steps to have accountability about anything, you are now waiting for someone to pick up keys and drive a car when they don't even have a license. You've got to let yourself be free. And that's where the freedom, I think, comes from. Less about just like, oh, let me forgive them so I can let go. And yes, that's like essentially, sure, whatever. But like also let me choose to drive on a different road in my own vehicle. Let me allow spirit or whatever I do and don't believe in to be the guider in this, and embody that and integrate it and know that I am also spirit and I can choose. Even when someone took my choice from me with their harm, that's reclamation. And shit, that takes time sometimes. Sometimes you feel like I've reclaimed it, I've reclaimed my time, I'm good money, we out here. And something might happen viscerally in your body and now you're like, fuck, how am I back here? And there is a space of becoming that is, there's no skipping. There's no skipping steps when it comes to transitions. There's no skipping steps when it comes to being whole, being in this 3D, having sense of so much more than just 3D. Like, There's no skipping steps. You just have to walk this non-linear line and allow yourself to feel. And then you can say, all right, maybe we felt enough for today. It's time to put some shit in place and put some shit in action. Maybe I've had this thought way too much. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I'm giving myself 15 minutes to feel sorry about this shit. And then I'm gonna do something else that feeds my soul. But never in shame or in being unkind to yourself. Always show up for yourself. And different ways you can do that too is literally wrapping your arms around yourself, giving yourself a hug. If you are able-bodied and can move your body, move your body, move this energy, because you can't overthink your way out of pain or harm or trauma. There's things in your body that need to be released. If you're able to, go in the woods, go in nature and yell, scream, get it out. Put your face in a pillow and scream. Let it out. If you ever feel like you need to cry, take a moment. If you haven't cried in a while, ask yourself, do I need to cry right now? Even if you have to say it out loud, I think I need to cry. All right, I'm about to take 10 minutes because something going on. I'm holding something. There's just space of needing someone else to acknowledge their harm. And if they won't, what do you do next? One other thing is that you really can't heal in the same place that harmed you, but sometimes you can't get out of it either. And that's when you're gonna have to really look at the things you consume. That's when you're gonna have a lot more riding on your dedication to yourself. And not just, this needs to be perfect, I need to do things in ABC straight line of a way. If I am not consistent every single day in the same way, I failed, I'm never gonna get out of here, I'm stuck. Not like that. Many small step choices. What can you choose for yourself today that allows you to make a different path in what's happened? Because sometimes you're living in the same apartment, the same home, the same hometown, you know what I'm saying? The same block, around the same people that caused the harm. And you've already evolved to a space where you're not the same. You're not the same in the environment, but the environment hasn't changed yet. There's also a part that comes up where there might be guilt or shame around, why am I still here if this doesn't feel aligned or peaceful? Sometimes the same places that harm has happened might feel like refuge. Sometimes there might be Stockholm Syndrome. Sometimes you just might not be ready for the next step because everything feels like everything is changing. So now everything is magnetically buzzing and you're like, okay, well, I just need to slow down for a second. That's where the visceral tools of grounding yourself, if you can, in the grass or just outside, breathing deeply into your belly, into your gut, imagining there being a red light down in your root by the base of your spine, imagining the chakra colors right in your stomach, imagining your throat lit up, ready to release and give back what's not yours. Moving your body when you can. And again, not making things perfect. I gotta go to the gym for 60 to 90 minutes or else if I didn't break a sweat, then I didn't, move enough and I didn't do what I needed to do. And if I don't get super disciplined, I'll never get out of here. Being kinder to how you speak about yourself and allowing movement to be what moves your energy to then move out of the environment. Because not every day consistency looks the same. I knew a health coach that I worked with, and she changed my mind a lot on understanding that when you're tracking something, it's just data. It's just a way for you to see what's available to you right now, what the habits are right now, where you want to go. And consistency does look different every day when you're tracking data. And you're not tracking things just to keep score or be ashamed, but you're tracking and you're observing things to see where you can give a little bit more of yourself to yourself. So if you're in an environment that is the same environment that has harmed you or where harm has happened, you do have to get real about, if you're willing to just stay there or if you want different. And if you want to stay there, you got to be real about it. You got to be like, yo, I'm just going to stay here. It's just easier, and not even shame yourself. A lot of the, I know I should leave. I know I should be ready. I know I should have been left. That's going to keep you stagnant too. Because all you looking at is ways that you think that you didn't do what you needed to do when you're not the only person that was involved in a situation that has set something up to be what it is. Now you're the only person that can choose the next step, which honestly is like, great. Because if you're waiting on somebody else to make the next step that is showing no signs to, that's still letting your autonomy be theirs, even after they've caused harm. It's like, you still get to control me, even after you did some shit that really was deeply harmful. And I'm still giving you all of me to drag me around. So you gotta be honest with yourself. If you're not ready, you're not ready. If you wanna be ready, then cool, I wanna be ready. What's a small step I can do to do more of that? If you are ready and it feels really tight or uncertain or scary, or you're like, how is this even gonna work? Let go of the how for a second and just get clear on what it is you want. And if you can only pick one thing and it looks like, I just want to be able to feel more in tune with my body, I just want to be able to have more peace. If it looks like, I just want my mornings to be slower and quieter, those are the ways that you see and you work backwards of, okay, well, for that to happen, even though I'm in the same environment, I might have to try this step to then get to that step. And it does always feel like this is fucking unfair. Like, I got set up in this situation and nobody's taking accountability and now I gotta fix it. I beg of thee to try to reframe, because like I said, great, nobody has control over you now. You're not the same person that was abused. You're not the same person that was abandoned. You're not the same person that was neglected. And that part of you still exists. And you pull up to that part of you with love and kindness, and you tell that part of you, I'm really sorry for what happened, but you wanna know something? You can rest now. We good. We good. Don't worry about all of that. And if you got anything to say, you got any worries, tell me. I'm here for you. You got to talk to yourself the way you wish that somebody else was talking to you when you went through these things. You have to physically, if you are able to use your words, you need to physically hear your voice saying things to yourself about how it is that you deserve peace and love, and you are these things, and how it is that you can actually have this in a more manifested way in your life. And you don't gotta wait for nobody to say sorry to get that. So I wanna just encourage you to allow yourself to know radically. They don't gotta come. They don't gotta say nothing. They don't gotta take accountability. Like, cool, once I get to that place, I'm gonna take you off the hook. Or ain't no more hooks because I've moved on. Or even if it is, you still did that and I still feel a way about it, it doesn't control me no more. I've moved on. Sometimes it's not that you're still doing something wrong. You've just forgotten your autonomy. And one of the biggest things to be grateful for in your life is that you have the power to choose. And getting back closer to that knowledge, even if it's a new idea or it's something you know, but you feel like you're giving away a lot of energy, you're leaking away a lot of your empowerment or your power to choose, that's where you gotta remember, I don't have to have this. I don't have to wait on you. I can move forward.